Hi guys, my name is Amy Kwan, and I'm giving everybody a few minutes to get situated and cameras and mics on, and then I'm going to begin. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Thank you everyone for joining. My name's Amy Kwan, like I said. I have many years experience in the sport of diving and seen all kinds of levels of diving, and wanted to offer a course for people that maybe struggle with the beginner diver and with the Dryland and the water program, especially if you're limited with equipment. Nowadays with the Dryland, there's some really fabulous world-class Dryland facilities everywhere, but not everyone necessarily has access to those things. So I wanted to put together 2 lesson plans that if you really want to develop with strong fundamentals, I feel these lesson plans are a great tool for you to utilize. You can modify, change, adjust based on timing and number of athletes that you have in your program. But basically, they're designed for an hour and a half, 45 minutes of a dry land with limited equipment. So basically on a pool deck, and 45 minutes on the 1 meter springboard, just in case you don't have access to anything else. But these 2 lesson plans will develop strong fundamentals to build a great foundation for your athletes as they're learning this amazing sport. So we're going to start. I'm going to talk about lesson plan A, and I'm going to talk about the Dryland version first. I have a video. You will have access to 2 of these lesson plans that you can have with you, and you'll also get access to the video. That way you can review it. The video does also offer Spanish in it, so you're able to have it translated for you as well. So to start with my lesson plan
Amy, just
A.
before you get it right into that, I'm going to just let everyone know. So I put in the links to the lesson plans in English and Spanish in the chat.
Okay.
You can open those up and follow along. They should be available to everyone, and the videos will be available afterwards over email.
Okay,
Amy,
great.
that's my piece.
And I have it on the screen as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. So basically the lesson plan is developed for you with a yoga mat. You could use a towel. If you have access to a jump rope. If you don't, you can obviously modify it without the jump rope. Tennis shoes, if you have them, you don't need to have them. My demonstration athletes don't have them on. So you have some options there. So very limited equipment needed to go through some of these very important skills that a beginner diver should have. The very first one we're going to start with is jump rope. And everybody's familiar with how to jump a rope. I'm going to show my athlete right here, Damien, basic jump rope skills. Okay, so that was just basic jump rope for the athlete. With the jump rope, I would suggest if they don't know how to jump rope, they can practice trying to use it. If they know how to jump rope, do 20 standing, 20 when you hop front and back. And I'm going to demonstrate. That's going to show the demonstration of hopping back and forth. Let me go there for that. Here we go. Okay, so jumping, you're going forward and backward. We're also going to do side to side. So with the video, let me demonstrate the side to side. Sorry, get used to the timestamp. I don't want to get you all balled up here. There we go. So just side to side. Okay, and then after they do the side to side, if you do 20 single leg, right leg, and then left leg, and everybody's probably pretty familiar with that. And I'll go to that one right here. Again, you'll have access to this video. So the single leg. Okay, so that goes through your basic jump rope skills. From there, I really recommend that you do 10 squat jumps. That squat jumps will start activating those legs and getting that body moving. And on the squat jumps, it's pretty similar to what you know as a squat jump. You can just have the athlete, let me go to the part there. You can see this. Hold on, sorry. Here we go. So basic squat jumps. Okay, again, this is nice in the warm up. From there, we're going to go to 2 sets of 10, tuck, kick out, entry through the middle. So through the middle, very important skill for them to understand. And you want to break that up with the tuck kickouts. And that I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to our tuck kickouts. Most all of you, I'm sure, teach through the middle on their kickout. So let's look at this one. So a sharp tuck and through the middle, tuck and through the middle. You want to try with the kickouts. They're working their midsection and their core. So you want to try to have them be able to do it with their feet staying above the ground and stretching all the way back behind their head, squeezing as tight as they can. Most of you, I'm sure, if not all of you, understand the entry grab, how you want them to grab with their hands. So you can be talking through that as well when they're doing this skill. You would want to do 2 sets of 10 of these. This is just really good stuff that you're going to need as you're developing the beginning diver. From there, we're going to do the pike up with a lateral out, and you'll see that in my lesson plan. For voluntary dives, if they're in the pike position, it's really aesthetically pleasing. My opinion for the lateral out, and a really great tool to teach. So on the lateral out, we're going to go to we're going to go right here for lateral out. And this is what I'm looking at here. And the arms come flat and then look back lateral. We can show that one more time. So over the toes, flat and lateral. Again, this is for the beginning diver. So you're going to see all different types of bodies, but as they develop based on their skill set, you can modify, adjust with these, but work on hitting these positions in their warm up. Then from there, this warm up is about a 45-minute warm up. You're going to do 3 sets of 30-second plank holds. So plank holds are great. They work the entire body, especially the core and the midsection, which, you know, within diving, it's so important. Our sport is definitely has a lot of factors to it. And so it's really nice to have some basic things that can kind of work everything you're looking for, especially with a beginning diver. So let's go to, we're going to go to the plank hold. On the plank hold, good to start with the arms straight, locked out, and their midsection tight, squeezing the bottom and everything tight in their legs and holding. 30 seconds sometimes can be pretty challenging to athletes that have never had to hold those positions or haven't done a sport or been involved in anything. So those are your plank holds. And then last in this warm up, we're going to go to handstands. Now, this can always be a little bit tricky, especially if you have beginning divers. And you want, before I show the video for the handstand, you would be surprised. A lot of people are not able to hold a handstand. So if you're going to do a partner handstand, one, you need to make sure the spotter is strong enough to hold the handstand. If they aren't, as the coach, you should be the one to make sure that they can come up on their hands and hold. If they are able to do it, then the partner should be able to hold them and also make sure they let them down easy so there's no injury and everything is safe. So let me demonstrate this. So obviously hold up nice and tight, check, good position, tight. And when you do those, you just want to definitely make sure that you let them down safely and that there's no injury there. You can also build the handstand. Some people, you could do a headstand, but if you're with limited equipment and not soft, you may be able to fold the towel up. And then you could start there on the head to protect that, to just understand that upside down balance. Okay, so that is the 45-minute lesson plan warm up for lesson plan A. If you have any questions, you put them in the question and answer box, and then I'll be able to address them. If not, I'm going to move on to the 45-minute section of the water for the beginning diver.
So, Amy, let's just give people a minute or
Okay.
so to think and type out their questions into the question and answer box. You can type it out in either English or Spanish, and we'll make sure that it gets translated and asked.
Okay.
So we do have a question, Amy. When
Okay.
you're doing these exercises, what type of material or matting are you looking to have on the floor?
A yoga mat, if they're familiar with that. So, because you are on a pool deck, right? So you could use a towel or you could use a yoga mat, which would be I'm not really sure the material. It's that kind of rubbery,
Something soft with a bit of grip.
something soft. Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that question. All right. I don't know that there are any more questions, so we can move on to the
We'll
second.
continue on.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going in lesson plan A. We're going to talk about side drill and the 1 meter springboard. And this is designed 45-minute workout. I have the numbers set. So based on you, again, may need to modify depending on the number of athletes that you have in your group. But I really encourage and always begin with beginners on the side, using your pool deck as the beginning stages to build the diver foundation. Now, you definitely have to make sure that your pool deck side is safe, that they're not having to clear a gutter or jump over something that's not stable on your deck, but hopefully if you do have a good deck, you would be able to do the side drill from it. So let's go to, on your side drill, I highly recommend, obviously basic, you start with 2 front jumps, straight, tuck, and pike. And they're doing that with circle arms. So we're going to go to those so I can demonstrate that on our side drill. And I'm just going to run through those starting at here. Okay. So straight, tuck, and pike. So if you do 2 of each of those and they're circling their arms, strong core jump, that is really good to start with. So I'll show that one more time. Again, this video, you'll have access to it. So you can go back and look and see what you want. Okay, that one was the pike. Sorry, let's go back just a little further and we'll start with straight and then tuck and then a pike. Good. And trying to hit those positions, strong jump, make sure they jump strong away from the deck, all very important. From there, you're going to do 2 front dive straights and then add the tuck and add the pike. These you're going to do, I'm going to show you the video of those, what we're looking for in that I think is very good and helpful. All right, let's look at this and see what you think. So so with this one, you're standing up nice and tall. You have your hands grabbed over your head, ears locked out, and that hollow rainbow shape, diving in straight. So you want to do 2 of those, and then front dive tuck. And with that, no circle arm, just arms up over your head and a good pop and nice tuck on that for demonstrating the front dive tuck. And then lastly, we're going to do the front dive pike. So we'll go through those one more time just to look at that. Don't want to make people dizzy. Okay, straight. Arms up, front dive tuck. Good. And pike. So you want to hit those on your side drill. I would say 2 of each of those. Now, if you have someone that can do a forward somersault tuck, then you definitely want to put this in your side drill. If you have to build up to that, they can do front dive tuck, go over, make sure they're jumping strong, throwing to connect until you feel comfortable that they could make the front somersault tuck. But the demonstration on the side, and depending on your deck level, that'll make a difference too with your forward somersault tuck. So let me show you on this. So that standing front semi tuck is a really good and great action to teach. I know as a beginner though, that's a little bit more difficult, so you can build up to that with this in the side drill. Next, you just want to turn them around and we're going to do some back jumps. We're just doing back jump straight, back jump tuck, back jump pike. You're going to do 2 of each of those. So let me demonstrate on our backs. Where we want to go is here. So jumping strong up off the deck. Try to stay tight, tuck, and kick. And pike. So with those, you can just make sure they're jumping as strong as they can. Of course, the athletes demonstrating, there are definitely some errors in what they're doing, but these are basic concepts that you can learn and you can have them understand with body position and build that strength jumping off the side of the deck. The next step I like to do on the side drill is the back raindrop tuck and a pike. And this builds how to connect into a tuck and then how to come out of that. It is very helpful to do it backwards. And then when you get more advanced with your diver, you can build it going reverse, and that will help build into a reverse dive. So let me show you what I mean by raindrop. People have different ways that they call the technique, but raindrop is just kind of when they land, it brings up water into the air, which I think is why we call it the raindrop. So let's go here. Tuck and land on your bottom. Pike, land on your bottom. So I'll go back one more time on those. Some people may not normally use these. I find them to be really helpful. That's the pike one. And then we'll go back for the, I keep staying on the pike. Let's go back to the up tuck and raindrop. So I really encourage you guys to use those and build that to jump as high and balanced as possible, and then connect into the position, and then landing kind of balanced on the water. You'll see all kinds of different things happening when they're learning how to do these. Sometimes they just don't know how to get in that V angle to come out. And of course, flexibility is definitely something you want to build into this lesson plan. I'll talk about that at the end. I didn't write it down, but it's really nice to work on flexibility when they're warm to be able to build them to be able to hit those positions. Okay, from there, the last thing on the side drill is the 2 back dive straights. And I will show you from that. We're going to go to right into here. Let's take in that right here. Okay. So just pop and go in straight. So we'll look at that one more time. Hands over the head, grab your entry, and then you can pop and try to get as vertical as possible with that entry. That's our side drill. If there are any questions you can put them in the question and answer box on any of those skills for side drill or any questions about side drill. I don't know if I see any. I see a question in here that says, what's the goal of the jump rope to side? That's just working coordination. It's a cardio, build the cardio and coordination side to side. Just understanding your body and how to move it in directions makes that helpful. And the core needs to be very tight and strong with that. Okay, I think I can move on to the 1 meter board.
And if you wait 1 second, we have one more
Okay,
question
okay,
that's
no worries.
just translating right now.
Yeah, no worries.
So can you speak a little bit about the progression time from the easier exercises to the more difficult and complex ones?
For the dry land or for the side drill?
For your most recent
The side
discussion,
drill.
it doesn't specify, so I'm discussing the
Okay,
most recent exercises and drills you've been doing.
okay. So the progression timeline on the side drills for a beginner, you can definitely stick with the front jump, the straight, the tuck, the pike. That can be done right away. And you can build the front dive straight with that just falling front dive, learning how to just, stand, bend over, and falling in, and then build a little jump with that. As the jumps build, you should, and they understand how to dive in the water, you should be able to add the tuck and the pike. The front somersault progression, definitely for a beginner, will take maybe with consistency once a week or twice a week, maybe 2 or 3 months, depending on ability. Every child's different with how to make this action work. So some may take longer, some may pick it up faster. You just kind of have to gear it as you build this side drill. The back jumps, they should be able to do pretty off the bat, and the raindrops may take probably a little longer. They'll be willing to try it. They can even land in a cannonball, just in a complete tuck position. It's not gonna hurt them on the water just to understand it. The pikes, sometimes they land sitting on it, and that they don't like, for sure. So you can kind of play with that. And the back dive straight with the jump takes a little bit of time. So you may want to just spot, hold them and let them drop in for a while till they feel comfortable. But again, it really depends on your athlete and you know, how the biggest thing is safety. So just making sure that they're clearing the deck and able to do these successfully to the best of their ability as they're building it. Hopefully that helps.
Are there any questions that anyone has left? Please put them in the question and answer. We are happy to answer them and discuss. So Amy, while we wait to see if there's just another couple questions, because it can take
Yes.
people a minute to type, are there any exercises that you considered putting in but didn't? And if yes, can you speak to those a little bit, just to give people a couple more options and ideas?
Um, yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things that you can use. Um, some other options, especially for the dry land portion, is cardio. You can run. You can run in place. You can sprint. Any type of running activity is really good for the warming up the cardio. That's something that I would add in there. Um, but you are so limited with the time. If you're limited with time constraint, I really wanted to pick out things that I felt kind of attacked everything in the whole the best as possible. Um, but I would do some running. Um, I have the second lesson plan that is different. Um, Conditioning. So there's going to be more options. And obviously, with these two lesson plans, you can intertwine them, mix them, modify, take out, you know, in those. But out of the ones that I listed, I think these are really the strong ones to use when you're developing that beginning diver.
Perfect. Thank you for those comments. We did get a question, so I'm just going to take a second and translate that. Please hold on. So this coach is saying that their times can be increased for both dry land and water training because they have about 2.5 hours to work with. So if you had a bit more time, how might you adapt your sessions, as in the case of
So
this coach?
yeah, if I had more time, I would take, when I go through the lesson plan B, I would use both of them in building the beginning diver. So I would take my two 45-minute dry land sessions and combine it and then I would do the same with the water. Um, and I would do that every time because these things take a lot. They're very important for that foundation. And we're in a sport of repetition. And this would develop that beginning diver much stronger before they're learning bigger things that they need to learn down the road.
Okay, thank you for that. Oh, and another question. So for some of the entry types, beginners can be afraid just to getting into the entry. What are some ideas for things you could do in keeping with the themes to address that?
Yes. So if, this is when you have limited equipment, right? A lot of people, if they do have access to a, it's called kind of a wedge, which is, it's like a gymnastics mat that looks like a piece of pie, has an angle on it. Um, that's such a great resource to have. I don't know how accessible they are, but if you do have some type, of way to access a wedge, kind of like a little bit of a slide, that is definitely very helpful for the entry, like not being afraid because you're sliding them right into the water. If you don't have access to that, because you can also take that wedge from the deck and you can put that wedge on that 1 meter, and that kind of eliminates that fear of that. If people aren't familiar with what that is, I could get that in the, so they have access to what it is. I could show that when we send the video, and then they would be able to see what that is as well. Mainly they use it in gymnastics, but you can definitely use it on the pool deck. And I think it's fairly affordable. But if you don't have access to that, or cannot have that, the hand spotting, just really truly guiding them in, and starting, maybe put the yoga mat on the deck to add a little cushion, start on their knees, head down, and slowly work them in to the water till they build up that concept of going head first. I mean, look, our sport's the only sport that goes on their head. I mean, we're very, it's not natural. So we do have to develop these kids to be able to feel comfortable doing that um, on your side drill. And I mean, when you're doing your conditioning with the handstand, I mean, building a handstand, that's pretty helpful for that. And then I think a lot of people they like to put them in the water and push off the deck in a glide. So they have the hand position and they're just gliding on the water, which is a simulation of going in head first without the drop. Hopefully that's some helpful tools.
Yes, I think that's helpful. There's hopefully that gives people some ideas. So thank you for that. Are there any more questions? We'll give people about a minute, but afterwards, I will assume that that was all of it.
Okay.
Or all right, I'm not seeing any more questions.
Okay.
So unless Amy, you have any last minute or final pieces of things to add, I think we are good to
Good to
wrap
go.
up.
Okay, so I'm now going to take you to the 1 meter springboard, and this is the ending part of your water after doing the side drill. And on the 1 meter springboard, you're going to do similar things that you did on the side. So we're going to start with 2 single front jumps, straight, tuck, and pike. We did this on the side drill. We're now going to do this off the board. And I'm going to get that so that you can see what we are doing here with that. Okay, let's run through these and see. So standing straight, tuck. Now with these jumps, I'll do them one more time. You're adding that circle arm and pushing that board down and letting that board rise you up the best you can. And as you can see, in my video, one is a group D boy, so younger, less experience. One is a group B girl, so a little more experience, and you can kind of tell in their jumps. Beginners, definitely you can see all different things. They're just not familiar with how that springboard pushes. And when we get to lesson plan B, the lesson plan will help develop that understanding of the springboard. But in this part, you're just transitioning what they did off the deck, which was a hard surface. You're taking it to now the springboard, which obviously is a bouncy surface. And I always recommend to the fulcrum to keep the fulcrum all the way back. Let them learn how to handle that, because as they develop their diving, that fulcrum, the amounts that they can push into the board will elevate their diving down the road. So I always recommend, even for the beginner, not to tighten the board, just keep it all the way back and let them kind of understand how that board bends and um, uh, returns back with the body, like a trampoline, how they can learn how to catch that. From there, we're going to do 2 standing front line up straight. So when we were on the side deck, we did the front jump straight, but now you're just going to have them fall into that lineup from the board. And I'm just going to go to 1453. So they're going to stand with their hands grabbed high up on their toes and just fall in. And with that, you just want them to be as straight as possible and be able to line up in the water. Let me go back. We'll show it one more time. Okay, and that's that front lineup straight. And then we're going to do 2 standing. You're going to do front dive tuck and a front dive pike. So we're going to go to, it's right after that. Let's look at these. Okay. So circle arm, grab the tuck. Next. So we can look at those one more time. Again, you'll have access to this video. It's also in Spanish. So hopefully it's a great tool that you can have in your toolbox if you need to look back at anything. On the pike position, you can have them touch their toes if you'd like. I like the open pike position. I feel that makes them have to control that midsection better and understand that vertical line better. But either way, you can make that happen. From there, we're going to go, because we spend a lot of time on the deck doing the side drill. Now we're just going to go into 2 back jumps, straight, tuck, and pike. We did that in the side drill, and we're going to finish with 2 back lineups. So let's take a look at those. So the back jumps. I remember I could do this easier. Okay. Okay, so you're just seeing those. Let's go back, make you dizzy here. We can try it one more time. Back jump straight, back jump tuck, and back jump. These are just all really important to the beginning diver. Yeah, a lot of times it can be a little bit monotonous or boring, but it's all required to build that strong fundamental so that the foundation is good. Once they can really kind of get these done, then they'll be able to add dives pretty fast once these are all very solid. Lastly, and this is the back lineup. And again, you can spot them on this. Let's see, this one was at 1550. You can do a hand spot if you need to, or if they're doing it pretty good off the side by themselves, they can do it just standing high as they can on their toes, grabbing their hands, and then just falling back, head in line. And as they build that, you can see this athlete was not vertical. So as he builds that skill, he can learn to understand how to be more vertical in that. Let's go back. I'll show that one more time. That was, sorry, I'm using the wrong direction. Okay, there, we pulled him back up. So that's it for lesson plan A. It's an hour and a half, basically, depending on the amount of kids that you have. It covers a lot of beginning stuff for your beginning diver with modified, you don't need much to make it happen. As I move into lesson plan B, I'll add a little bit more even a little bit more challenging skills that they can build on, which will be very helpful. If there's any questions on the 1 meter skills that I just did, we'll take a second to ask those questions before I go to the lesson plan B.
I'm not seeing any questions, so
Okay.
why don't we go
Are
on
we
to
good
lesson
to keep
10?
going?
Yeah, I would keep
Okay.
going. And if anyone has any questions, please just type them into the question and answer, and we'll address all of the questions at once.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so thank you
Oh,
very much for that.
just as soon
We
as I
are
finish saying that, there is a question.
somebody's
Um, is there a reason for not doing 101A?
No, they did the front lineup straight. They absolutely could do 101A if they want. If they want to add that into their lesson plan, they can. 101A has a set in it, a set position in it. So they can build that with it, but the lineup is that straight position. And they absolutely could add 101A if they want. That's the thing, like for diving, there's just so many things that we can add or take out. But yeah, that definitely could be put in there.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. And there are no
You're
more
welcome.
questions. So now I think we're good to move on.
Okay, so now guys, I'm gonna go into lesson plan B. Again, there's 2 lesson plans here. Utilize them how you'd like. If you would like to combine anything, you can, if you have more time. If this is a lot in the time frame, you can always do half one day and then half the next. As long as you're covering everything pretty consistently, I think you'll be pretty happy with the progress for your diver, for the beginning diver. This lesson plan B, it's again a 45-minute warm up. This one, we're going to do 3 sets of 20. They're vertical jumps and they're grabbing their hands for their entry. So this is a cardio. I'm going to take you to that so I can demonstrate that for you in the video. Try not to get everyone. Okay. So right here, let's look at this. The next exercise, we're gonna. We missed it. Let's go back. Here we go. So just grabbing. So he's just grabbing his hands and ankle snapping. We're gonna do that 3 sets, doing that 20 times. This is a really great skill. It makes their ankles work. They're squeezing their ears. Their hands are grabbed. Midsection's tight. I'm always really surprised at how many, like in the beginning stages, they don't understand how to use their ankles, how to make those work with jumping. So I feel this is very beneficial for the beginning diver. Next, we're going to do 4 times. You're going to do an 8 count circle arm, and then you're going to raise up. And let me show you what I mean by that. I actually do not have the video of this, but basically you are going to have the diver in a squat and they're just going to circle as they're in a squat, circle their arms 8 times. You're going to want their arms moving and circling 8 times. When they get to the 8 count and the arms are vertical, they're just going to extend their legs up. So if you do that 4 times, that activates their quads, their hamstrings, their arms are moving, and then they extend up to understand how to push off that squat position. I'm always surprised with kids with their arms. They're not very fast in their arm patterns. So they really have to learn that, how to swing their arms, circle, come back to vertical. So that's really important in that skill. Next, I do 10 times and it's a hurdle rock raise. So let me show you what this is because terminology can be different. But this kind of is getting them ready for a hurdle, which is always, you know, challenging for someone that hasn't ever done it. So let me show you this first. So they're pushing in that drive leg with the arms going back. And then they raise that knee up and stand up. So let's go back to that again. So a drive up and push. This is just understanding that and then how to raise the knee up and hit that hurdle position. So in this exercise, I would do 10 times that hurdle rock raise. So have them push, you know, into the hurdle about, I would say 3-4 times and then raise up. And I would do that 10 times. The next one is a hurdle rock raise. Now you're going to add the jump to it. So with that, we're going to go to here and we're going to do here. Let's start here. So on the fourth count, as you're pressing back, after they do 4, then I would have them come up and jump. I didn't write that in the lesson plan, but in the video, it does show that. So do it 4 times and then jump into the hurdle. And I would do the total exercise 10 times, just to get that being familiar, sorry, with that skill. So let's show it one more time. Okay, that's that one. Then I do the 10 arm pattern. So 3 circles in a squat. Oh, I'm sorry. That is the same thing as the 4 times. Hold on. Nope, it's not. Sorry. Confused myself. Let's go to this timestamp. Here we go. Great. Damien's going to. Let's show you that. I think I have to get over here a little bit. 9, 10. Y luego va a levantar los talones. Eso se hace 10 veces before going. Okay, so he's going to circle in there and then up. So the difference between this one and the one I was talking about earlier, the earlier is 8 counts like this. Circle, 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 8 times, extend up. And you're going to do that 4 times. That's in the beginning. Then you're going to come back to this one and you're going to do this again, but only circle it 3 times and then a stronger jump up. So let's go back. 3 circle arms in that squat pattern. So getting that full extension off. Circle, circle, and up. All right, so that's for that. Then we're going to go into the back pattern. So that's kind of for forward. Then I do the same thing for a back action. And let me show you what I mean with that. So you're doing similar, but then you add the back action to it. And that's going to go here. Okay. So circling and then extend backwards. So this is adding a little bit more difficulty into that dry land with a back type of takeoff. Adding that in here when you're doing the dry land. And then lastly, in this dry land, you're going to go 10 times. So you're going to do a circle arm throw down, so speed, working that flexibility into a pike position, and then coming out lateral entry. So a little bit more advanced for the beginner, but something they can start to build on. So let's hit this one. So just patterning that action. And as you can see, the boy, he still moves his midsection. He's not quite in control of that core on that. Okay, that's my dry land for lesson plan B. Is there any questions you have on those skills that and exercises that I've discussed? Of course, these are a little bit more difficult than lesson plan A. and can be modified if needed.
So please put your questions in the question and answer box as you have been doing, and we can hopefully get a good answer for you.
Yeah.
Please don't be shy, put your questions in. We will answer them. There we go. Can you replay the last video and maybe give a bit more
Sure.
commentary?
On the throwdown pike.
The last video.
This
Yes.
one right here, yeah. So here they're gonna squat, circle, throw down into a deep pike, and then grab their entry. This is just a great skill set for spinning once you're adding anything pike position. And it also works their flexibility and just pattern. I'll show that one more time. So arms, let's go back to this here. So circle, arms come all the way up vertical, and then lateral entry grab. We'll do it one more time. Squat, circle, and entry. You notice when they squat circle, their arms come vertical, but they also bend a little bit back behind the ears. And then they gain the momentum and power narrow into the throw down. Does that help?
I don't know, I'm not unable to ask them, but I think that was some good additional context and commentary. So thank you
Okay,
for that.
great. Yeah. Okay, lastly, in lesson plan B, we don't do side drill in lesson plan B. So lesson plan B, I always recommend though, lesson plan A first or combine both of them together. If you have more time, add the side drill with lesson plan B. If you don't, then make sure you're covering lesson plan A and then use lesson plan B. They kind of go hand in hand because they're going to add more things. Now we're on the 1 meter only, and we're going to do 5 front lineups. And that's just entry work going into the water. So let me show. Everybody has maybe different ways they like to do it, but I feel like on this, we're going to go to here. Arms to the side and just falling in. So let's go back to the front lineup. I'm going to show the front lineup and then also we're going to, so I suggest this 5 times, just falling in. They can fall with their hands grabbed if you want, if they're struggling to grab their hands. They can start with their hands grabbed, but you definitely want them to work where their arms are lateral, and then they can be able to line up their hands and grab them going into the water on that lineup. And then for the back lineup, you're just going to do it straight. So falling back lineup again, trying to be as vertical as possible. So that's very important. I already showed the videos for the next round. So you want to do one of each, but do a round of the front jump straight, the front jump tuck, and the front jump pike. Just make sure you get those in. Now we're going to move into where they're learning a little bit how to jump, how to really catch the springboard and understand it. So we're going to do one round here of the single jump, and I'm going to show that so you see what I mean on this. Okay. Now, you want them to do a single jump, so one circle arm jump and go as high as they can. And then you want them to try to tuck twice just to get their body moving so they can go as high as they can and be able to do 2 tuck positions before they hit the water. Okay. This is a great exercise, just teaching them how to push the board down, how to go up, how to get their body moving and getting their legs into that tuck position. Then we're going to do the same thing, and you're going to do it 2 pike positions. So single jump going up and trying to touch your pike twice. These are just great tools to do to understand how to catch that springboard, keep their balance, hip position, activate their core. It just adds a bunch of things into that. So I suggest you do one round of those, and you could do with the one round, you could just do it once. You could do it twice. It really depends on your time, what you have available to you. From there, we're going to go into, you're going to do one round of back jumps. I've already showed you those. You just want to make sure that they're doing a back jump straight, a back jump tuck, and a back jump pike again, reinforcing those skills. And from there, we're going to add now a different type of skill on the board after they've done the back jumps. So we are going to do, let me show you, 1832, see. I go too fast. All right, let's go here. Okay, so you're going to have them, I'm going to stop this for a minute. So as you can see, they're on their toes. They're at the end of the board. They have to hold their core tight. They're in a squat position. Now we did these things in the side drill, and we also did this on the deck, more on the deck than we necessarily did in the side drill. But this is just holding their core and balance and understanding how to squat, circle their arm, and then extend. And then they follow it with a back jump. So I find this to be a really great exercise for the beginners. You might find that in the beginning it's difficult probably to hold their balance in that squat, but you can build that as they go. So look at his squat is not as squat is not as deep, but still in that same type of position, circling and then adding the back jump tuck. And then you're going to do it again. And you're gonna add the back jump pike. I really like this drill a lot. I think it just teaches them so much about the balance and how they should catch the board when they're jumping, all those good things. So I really think this is a great drill to use as you're building their foundation. Next, you're going to do a one-step hurdle rock. So we did those on the ground in the dry land. You're going to do that on the springboard so they're understanding how they push the board down. Let's go to, I'm going to get to that so I can demonstrate it so you understand it. In this drill and what you're doing on the springboard, I would encourage the divers to understand how to jump far, like see if they can jump a distance, just to understand how to, some kids in the beginning don't know how to be away from the board. So this just kind of builds that skill. So as you can see, she's doing the rock and then she comes back to the one-step hurdle and jumps out. You can build this understanding how to hurdle, how to jump to the end of the board, and then potentially they'll just probably go out, but I always say try to go out as far as you can, just to build that. We'll bring it back in as we progress, but we start to build that. So you can do that with front jump straight, with front jump tuck, and front jump pike. And I think this is a really good tool to use. Now he's dealing coordination, trying to understand how to swing his arms. So in that, you can kind of see his arm pattern's a little off. So he has to understand how, when he presses the board, where his arm should be. But then when he comes back to the one-step hurdle, he understands that position. And how she's pushing, understanding just how that should be when she goes into it, and then the pike. So that is a great skill for beginners to understand that and understand the distance. And then we bring it back. So in this lesson plan, they're going to do 2 one-step hurdle rocks, but now they're going to do a front dive straight and try to keep the about 3 feet distance on this. So I'll show you what I'm talking about on this one. Okay. So now, as somebody asked earlier, what about the front dive straight? So in lesson plan B, I do add that to kind of build that skill as well. This one then will go into the 3 rocks. So that same skill that we did with jumps, adding a front dive tuck. And as you can see now, he's kind of got the better of that skill. And then kind of understands how to raise and go up on his takeoff. So that is the one-step hurdle rock. We then go in, I do the same thing for front somersault tuck and front somersault pike. Let me show that. And then we'll add the front semi pike. So a little more difficult skill. So again, we're doing that hurdle rock to understand how to press the board, do the hurdle, and then add somersaulting to that. You can modify your lesson plan, but this gives a little bit more of an advanced skill. And then obviously you can build on that. You can build adding the 1.5, adding the double, adding a snap out for twisting. You just, it's a great basic foundation for them for what they want to achieve. From there, we're going to do a 1-step hurdle rock. And now we're trying to go as high as you can. So remember before I was saying, go out, do the distance. Now I'm bringing them back and I'm saying, all right, now let's see, how high can you go? And this is where we got with that on how high we can go. And I think that is good language for them to kind of understand the difference. So there you can see now he's trying to go as high as he can, limiting the distance from that skill. And then we do the same thing and we just add the somersaulting with it. So again, it's repetition, right? It's just building that, understanding that, becoming a friend with the board, understanding how to push it, how does it work. I just think those are really great sets to do with the beginning diver. Lastly, close to the end, we're gonna go into those back circles that we did. We did them on the deck, but we're also gonna do them, we did them on the board as well with jumps, but now we're gonna add a back lineup with that. So let me demonstrate that. So you see it here. So same circle, extend high and go vertical. So that's a really good just tool with that back lineup. And then we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to do a back dive straight and we're going to add the back dive tuck with that. And I'll show you this one. Okay, here we go. So they're understanding. And of course, remember with the 3 arm swings, these are drills, right? Obviously, when they're going out, being competitive, they get 1 arm swing, but this is just repetitive drills to build that beginning level skill set. Lastly, in this lesson plan, we're going to build an inward dive. And my biggest bias on an inward dive is being too far out. But I do believe when you build your inward dive, you want to have them go as far back as they can in the beginning, and then you can build that inward back into the proper distance. So with beginners, I would have them do back jumps and ask them to go as far as they can on the back jump. So we're going to go to so pushing away from the board, tuck, push away. Once they understand that, then you're going to teach them that inward dive. So they know how to push the board, and then they're going to connect to go in towards the board, which is always scary for a beginning diver, especially if they've never been in any kind of belt or any kind of dry land situation. This is just a really good way for them to understand, to be safe, and to be able to complete the dive. So lastly, we do the inward dive tuck and the inward dive pike. So we'll go back here. Okay. So inward dive tuck and inward dive pike. So that's it. That's for a beginning diver with limited equipment, foundational 2 lesson plans, Group A and Group B, or Group A lesson plan, Group B lesson plan. You can use them so many different ways, but I think it builds that foundation for them from there to be able to add a reverse dive, to be able to add the twisting dives, multiple somersaulting, back somersaults, all the somersaultings, once they really are good and comfortable with this foundation. And if you have 3-meter, you can add all of these on the 3-meter. It's all good to do. Even the single somersault, understanding control, right? But you have to gear based on your athlete. So with that being said, that is the course. I hope you enjoyed it. If there are any questions, go ahead and put them in the question and answer box.
We do have a question. I'm just translating it, so please hold
Okay.
tight. So when would you recommend that athletes start to graduate to the trampoline board for back and front?
Off the side drill, I go right away into it. But limit, if they're not successful on the side drill, then maybe shy away from that and just continue to build the other basic jumps before they try the 1-meter.
Okay, thank you for that. Are there any more questions? I do think that that is all of the questions.
Okay,
So
great.
do you have any final comments or are we good to wrap
Yeah,
up?
I mean, I think for the beginning diver, you can, if you have the 3-meter with this lesson plan, you can, I like to do the side. I take them to the 1-meter. I'll take them to the 3-meter, obviously, as long as they're understanding it, trying to keep them, the fear down as possible. But you just have to basically look at your athlete and kind of talk with them, and build those sets for them to be comfortable. But I think with that encouragement, they're able to do these things. And I think if you stick with it for a good amount of time, you will find really strong fundamentals with these kids, and then they can go anywhere, any direction you want them to go. So I think that's great. Thank you very much for your time. The video is going to be out there for you. We're going to get that to you guys, and you have the lesson plan. So I hope this is helpful.
All right. Oh, as we were talking, we did get a couple more questions. What would be the progression for jumps with dry trampoline turns? So 51-44 and 53-44.
51, say that
44.
again.
What would be the progression for jumps with dry trampoline turns? 51-54 and 53-44.
I would do on the trampoline, I'd be doing single bouncing snap outs to the back first. And then, did you say 51-44?
Yes.
Yeah. So understanding front semi pike to double pike to snapping with that to add the twist. I mean, these are a lot higher level skill sets on a trampoline, but I would just build it from there based on what their capabilities are. And for reverse, doing, you said the last one was reverse, right? 53.
53-44.
Yeah, 53-44. So, you're building like multiple twisting, multiple somersaulting in those. So those are pretty high level things on a trampoline, depending on if you have, any belting or whatnot. But I would just be step by step.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So I don't see any more questions, and I think that that is all. So thank you, Amy, for your time
You're
tonight.
welcome.
That was awesome with lots of great information and practical ideas. So hopefully everyone who attended learned something, has a couple new ideas to take back with them. So as Amy said, watch her an email with the documents. You do have access to both the English and Spanish versions as PDF, but there will be an email to follow. So watch for that. And otherwise, have a great rest of your evening. And thank you again, Amy and Marissa, for translating.
Thank you.
Thank you all and have a great evening.